Hey there. Welcome, everyone. I'm Karen Yankovich, and I'm here with the amazing Susie Mordoh, and we are here with Women Supporting Women, the live show that we do every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern here on LinkedIn, also broadcast to our private Facebook group. So excited to be here. So Susie was a guest on the podcast, episode 10. So that was a really long time ago. But as you know, we love bringing past podcast guests on this show. Plus, oops, not that what I wanted to show. Plus, Susie and I hang out. We're friends. So I want you to get to know her because she's doing some amazing things. So, Susie, I'm so glad you're here.
So glad I'm here. Thank you for having me. It's great.
Yeah. So tell everybody a little bit about you and who you are and what you do.
So I have had to pivot a little bit during this COVID time. I have an event planning company, which again, at this time, not so great, but I am a personal development coach. And that is something that I have been doing sort of the two sides of me. And I've been able to really step into it. And it's been awesome. Helping women basically become a little happier, more positive, vibes in their life. And how do we make them walk through life doing more of what they want to do?
Awesome. Awesome. Because you know what? I was just talking to somebody a little while ago today. Andrea, if you're listening, this is what we're talking about. We're really talking about the fact that, right now there's a lot of women that are working full time still. So they're working from home. Their kids are home. Maybe they're homeschooling or they're not homeschooling or they're virtual schooling or whatever they're doing with school these days. And, their partner may be around and their self-care and nobody knows how to do this, right? Nobody knows. How would anybody know how to do this, right? So there's and the key to this is they're working full time, which means they're still getting a paycheck. So they might be willing to bring someone like you in to help them because there's nobody supporting them. And that's, I think, what you do really well.
Exactly. Well, that is what I hope. I do that all the time. And what I often remind them, especially the moms at home that are with the kids that'll spend thousands of dollars on their kids, like in soccer, or they need this, or they're traveling, or they're doing, we're not traveling right now, but whatever it is, kids first, everyone else first. Right. And the idea of investing in themselves or even allowing themselves to dream feels like a luxury and selfish. And I try to teach them that's not so.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so important. It's so important because if we burn out, I don't know. I think everything collapses, and I don't. It's such a sexist thing to say that women do, but it still is true somehow.
I listen. I always say like we do the work of 10 men, and I say that with peace and love, guys. But if you're watching. But the truth is, even if you're working at home, most of the household responsibilities still fall back to the moms. All the schools are calling the moms. They might be in the middle of work and it's, hey, your kid's not on the Zoom call. What's up with that?
Right.
And, it's a lot of juggling.
Right. And, we've come so far with we're not juggling anymore. We're paying attention. No more multitasking. And now, boom, here comes COVID.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. Nurse your baby, run around after your 3-year-old while you're in a meeting with your CEO.
Exactly. Right? So my whole MO is trying to work smarter, not harder. How do we do this in a way that, gets everybody involved and allows us at the end of the night, not just to collapse, but to, perhaps slowly close our eyes.
So how did you evolve into this role? Tell us a little bit about your journey.
So, I have been a personal development junkie for a long time now. And really, I would say in the years that I was raising my kids when they were back at home and that middle school, high school time, I started to get pretty numb and was just going through the motions. And I know everybody can relate to that because we all do it. And I just actually kind of felt like I was drowning a little bit. So what ended up happening was I just started one step in front of the other. And for me, it started with a weight loss journey. So that was like a 50-pound weight loss. And in that process, we always talk about peeling back the onion. I learned a whole lot. And that's the type of stuff that I like to share with others because nobody really taught us that. If I was going to, and I love my mom when I say this, if I was going to mimic what she taught me, it was about everybody before, once you become your mom, your life is over as you know it. No more dreaming. You just got to do it all for the kids. And she's super generous, but That was not something that I learned, that it was okay to want.
Right. Right. So how did you then start to shift that into a business model?
Well, literally what happens when you're kind of going through a transformation, there is something there's like a magnetic energy that really kind of happens, because people that know you and are watching you make these changes, they're kind of looking, at first, they might not, hey, have this, do this, it's just this time, don't worry. And you start kind of standing in your power of what's best for you. There's a little energy that kind of happens, and there's nothing obnoxious about it. It's really, truly just I'm really focusing on trying to do what's best for me right now as I'm learning. And it took me about a year to figure it out. And what would happen is people would start coming up to me, like that whole, I want what she's having. Like, what are you doing? What are you eating? I see you exercising. Who's telling you what to do? And then they would ask me for help. And that's kind of how it started. It's really like one referral after the next.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is, I think, common, right? Because often especially, so hopefully those of you that are listening to this, whether it's live or on the replay, are hearing this, because the things that come naturally to us are not necessarily the things we think to run a business around, right? So not that came naturally to you, I'm sure you worked hard at it, but, yes. But, what you basically did was people were coming asking you for help anyway, right? So you just found a way to do it in a way, because, listen, if you gotta have a little skin in the game, I think, to really get the best benefit sometimes out of the support you get from other people. So I love that. But you've done so many other cool things like this. That's my card today. Can you see it?
I see it.
Choose Happiness is the card today. This deck is always on my desk, right in reach.
Right. I'm gonna pick one now.
Oh, cool. Okay, cool. So Susie created this deck, which is truly, this is really the only deck I keep out now, and I have other decks, but I keep 2 versions of it out. I'll tell you about that in a minute.
All right, this is what I got. So 53 positive messages. It's simply that. We're not getting too woo, too deep, but it's a way to kind of course correct our mindset, a little more positive. So you're gonna love this one. It says, wait, can you see it? Your friends are your choice. Edit if need be. Let's see.
That's a great one.
Edit if need be.
That's a great one.
That's a great one. I mean, that one, so many of us, right? We feel like we're locked into these relationships. And especially when you're making change, you feel like maybe someone else is sabotaging you, or, they don't want the best for you. But the truth is, most of the time, they just only know you in a certain way, and they're not used to the differences. But when you start surrounding yourselves by, like-minded people, it's a whole different game changer, which is what you do here.
It truly is. I mean, because at the end of the day, when I teach in LinkedIn marketing really is, once we've whipped you into the superstar and created a great profile so you look amazing, the next thing is, we can say everything you want about what you know, but a lot of it is really about who you know, right? So let's edit who you know. Let's connect you with some really cool people. Let's, elevate the people that are surrounding you. And that doesn't mean, in some cases, maybe it does mean letting some people go, right?
Or as I say, maybe just a time out, right? It's like a time out. You kind of do your thing. I'm over here trying something new, because you get a little allergic. When you start becoming more positive, I'm allergic to the negativity.
Yeah, it's true. I completely hear that. It's so true. It's almost like you want to say, I don't accept that. Like, leave that over there. Like, I don't want that in my energy, right?
Right. Teflon suit. Like, let it just back or rubber, right off of me.
Yeah. So I always have had a deck, one of your decks out since you created them. And by the way, I'm just going to give a couple little plugs on this. What I love most about this deck, aside from the fact that it's just positive cards, there's no woo about it. It's not saying, consult your guides or anything like that. But Susie, the genius in Susie, the designer in Susie, created it so that, I don't know if you can see it, but the deck actually sits on things, right? So if you guys are a deck, it has a little box that you sit it in with a window. So not only is it great, it's so easy to leave out, which you did, right? So that's cool. But every day I pull a card just to set my tone for the day. But one day, about, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago, right in the beginning of this pandemic, I was making some really big changes in my business, and I I hired a CFO a couple months before that, and I was hiring an online business manager, all things that were scaring the living crap out of me. And I pulled the card. It was like, maybe let's call it March 1st, right? And it was reset your default. I was like, oh, I need to leave that out. So I'm like, I don't even want to pull another card tomorrow. So I left that out. And that was my card for the month. And then I pulled another deck out because I always have a stash of these because I give them to everyone. And now I have a card for the day. So I have in my kitchen, I have a card for the month. So the first of every month I pull a card, and that's my message for the month. And then I have, so like, I'm like Susie Mordoh everywhere in my house.
I have to tell you, I have a lot of decks, and I love that you do that and you give them to your clients. And I hope that they love you for that, right? That you get what you give, which is super fun. And you are part of the Daily Huddle, which is something that we do every morning, pulling a card and feeling it all.
Yeah, it's so cool. It's so cool. And because really at the end of the day, this is the good stuff, right? This is the fun stuff. And it is, and I know you are going to laugh when I say this because you've told me this all the time, but for me, I have this real like left brain, right brain thing going all the time. And it's so easy for my left brain to just overtake the right brain, and I'm like, go, 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 go. And like, I need to step back. I need to be intentional. I literally have to build like rituals around intention so that so that they don't just steamroll right over the time.
Exactly.
Right? So
that's it. Well, that's what the Daily Huddle is, a morning ritual. It's a way to start your day on a positive note. But this exactly what you're saying. If we don't sort of balance it out, because listen, I work my butt off and there's a lot of hours and you're marketing and you're doing and you're coaching and you're available to people, but it doesn't always have to be hard. Like we can actually enjoy ourselves along the way because it's who we're becoming is the real gift in the whole process.
It's so true. It's so true. It really is. It's so true. And it's about, the podcast, which was ages ago, we talked about inspired action. And that's still what we're talking about, right? Mm-hmm. Like inspired action. It's not just action. It's inspired action.
Right. And that this time, right now, more than ever, I mean, whenever this podcast will live on, but right now, in some ways, COVID's a little bit of a spiritual gift. And I say that because it's really making us kind of sit down and figure out what's important, like which friends are important, who do we have to edit? I don't know, what relationships we value, because the truth is people are what matter.
Well, it's so true. It's so true. And it's helped us. I think it's helped many of us learn how to say no to some things, right? Like, I can think of somebody in particular that, is always invited to be with these people that she really enjoys being with. But then she's like, but I'm not seeing my grandkids because of this. So why would I see them when I'm not even seeing my grandkids? Like, I'm going to start saying no to that because I'm going to be really intentional about what I do with my time so that when the opportunity comes up to see my grandkids, I've been, quarantined or I've been safe and I can confidently feel like I'm not putting their health at risk. Right. So we're learning how to be more intentional about who we see, what we do, and when we do it. And I think we've really learned a lot of lessons. Susie, I don't know if we talked about this, but I actually heard a while back, and I haven't heard anything about it recently, but that literally the people that measure like the seismic activity of the earth are saying that the earth is calmer. Like, that there's less seismic activity. If we were at a 4, we're at a 3 now, or a 5, whatever it is, because we're not driving as much, we're not flying as much, we're not, like, the earth is calmer, right? So that, how can that not just, be a gift in some way? Right. And I fully recognize that I personally have lost people. Like, I know this is a horrible way for this to have happened, but it is,
it's a wake up.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it is.
I imagine the earth. I can sort of see that, and we're rooted and grounded into it. And that so sounds like all we do is sit around and hug trees all day, which is not the case.
Right.
Not the case. But the reality is, we're only on this planet a short time. So let's spend the time. Let's not, I talk like the day we're born, the day we die. Like, that's on the head. So like that with that dash, that's what matters.
Right.
That's the big stuff we got to look at.
Right. Oh my gosh, so cool. And then from a business perspective, I think it's important too. And I know I've learned. So one of the things that I've had to learn by hiring a CFO and an online business manager and things like that is to not fill the space with other garbage, right? To be really intentional about what's most valuable for me. And one of the things that I started doing recently And it's been crazy how well it works. I'm sitting at my desk right now, and I don't know, you guys, there's like just piles of stuff that eventually need to get done. And, there's just stuff, and there's, often, my team communicates via Slack. So there's Slack notifications. I've got 3 screens here, and it's like just that's my work life. But what I started to do, because I have a LinkedIn strategy program, and it really helps the people that are in the program. And what I've started to do now, when I talk to people that call me and say, I want to know more about the program and what you do, I leave my desk. I go to another place in my house where I can focus just on them. Because if they've reached out to me, then they're looking for help. It may or may not be a fit, but if I think it is a fit, I need to be like giving them my full attention and giving them the space in my day to really find out if it's a good fit, and if that investment is right on their part, and if the time investment on our part and them makes sense. It is something I never would have done pre-COVID, because I had too many things going on at once. Like, I actually book like 15 to 30 minutes before the calls to clear my calendar, to kind of just sit with them and look at their LinkedIn profile, maybe check out their Facebook page, and really just enter their energy and get to know them. And our enrollments have gone through the roof since I started doing that.
I would say that has
it's like, why didn't I do this before? And but that's what I mean about having to build rituals like around it, because that doesn't come naturally to me. What comes naturally to me is I got all these things I got to be doing. And while I'm talking to this person, I could be banging out some emails, right? But that doesn't serve anyone.
No.
Right?
Well, first of all, you made me smile, because in this time with the events, everything gets shut down. All of a sudden, all the assistants kind of go away. You're doing more stuff. And I find I'm really busy doing stuff that I would never usually be doing. And it's so coincidental, because this morning I reached out to my assistant. I'm like, are you ready? Are you ready to start doing some more stuff? I am not being effective with my time if I don't delegate out.
Right.
So thank you for that one.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. And to me, that's inspired action, which is what we talked about. You guys can listen to the podcast at KarenYankovich.com/010. So how can people, tell us about the Daily Huddle? How can people get involved? How can people have more of Susie in their life? If they want to be intentional, what was the card? If they want to bring you into their life, how do they do that?
Your friends are your choice. So hopefully I'll be a choice. So really a very nominal, like the way to dip your toe in and get a sense is I've got something called the Daily Huddle it goes live on Facebook. It's a private group, $10 a month membership. It's really nothing. It's just like-minded people that gather together, and we really have a morning ritual together. We sip a little coffee. I pull a little card. We talk about, some good stuff for the day, the energy, whatever the card reveals. We go out, make your bed, lace up your shoes, get moving, and then get on with your day. It's goes on at 8 a.m. and I can stick a link in for you. If
what is the link?
It's the Daily Huddle with Susie.com.
Okay, let me see if I can.
Here, should I put
the Daily Huddle with Susie.com.
Put it like that if you want. There you go.
Let's see if.
And you can find it also on that SusieMordoh.com, the website.
Did I spell that right? Oh, I did spell that right. There we go. The Daily Huddle with Susie.com.
And the decks are on the website too.
Yeah, cool. Or if you go to KarenYankovich.com/Amazon, I'm pretty sure I've got the decks on there.
Yeah. Oh, perfect.
All my favorite things are on the
my right. Absolutely.
No, Susie, listen, I think, is it an affiliate site? Yes. I don't think I've made 25 cents on Amazon affiliate in my life.
No, I don't even.
To me, it feels good. It feels like a good place to kind of just gather all of the things I love. So
exactly. I love that.
I'm making money on Amazon affiliates, but it sure as heck isn't me.
I don't know who is either. Exactly. Yeah. But whatever. That's all good for everyone.
Exactly.
Next.
Cool. So check it out, the Daily Huddle with Susie.com. Susie, this was great. Thank you so much for being here. Oh, wait, do we have, thank you so much for being here. And you guys definitely check out the podcast and episode 10. So KarenYankovich.com/010 and join Susie's Daily Huddle. It's pretty cool. And like I said, these decks, I've given them to tons of people. I give them to all my private clients. In fact, a lot of you guys that are listening probably have these decks. So, thanks for being here, Susie.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for my LinkedIn profile because you helped me.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, guys, we'll be back here next Tuesday for another show.